listening to TMZ Movie Crashers.
Welcome back to TMZ's Movie Crashers. I'm Fabian Garcia.
I'm Paige Catton.
And I'm Drew Shipley.
Second week in the studio, and we are hitting you with back-to-back guests right off the top. Drew Shipley from Research. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Finally made it.
Yes, you
I'm
did.
excited.
We're so happy to have you.
So happy to have you.
Lots of movie news this week. I'm going to quickly go through what we're not going to discuss at length today, but just so we can acknowledge it, that we're aware. Andrew Garfield defending method acting. Apparently, Taylor Swift was snubbed by the director of Twilight Once Upon a Time. She wanted a role in that movie. He said no. He's reflecting on it now. That's kind of interesting. Movie Pass is returning. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
I did see that.
Glass Onion first look photos have been released and a release date has been set. Matt Reeves has signed a first look deal with Warner to do all things Batman. And Top Gun has overtaken Infinity War. So that movie is continuing to soar. Again, we're not going to talk about that stuff at length. Just wanted to acknowledge it.
Give it a shout out.
Exactly. And where we are going to start today, though, is with the big motion picture. This is our biggest movie segment where we talk about the largest, most important movie topic of the week. And we have got to talk about Harry Styles.
Yes.
Harry Styles on the cover of Rolling Stone. I think it might have been Rolling Stone UK.
It was both.
It was both. Okay, so there we go. Doing this wide-ranging interview talking about his new movie, My Policeman, which is coming out in October through Amazon, talking about his relationship with Olivia Wilde, and also talking about his sexuality and a lot of the speculation that has gone into his sexuality, and kind of addressing, quote, queerbaiting accusations. Before we get into that, though, let's actually play the teaser of My Policeman. It's like 43 seconds long, and this is where he's playing a gay cop in the UK in the 50s, kind of a Brokeback Mountain sort of vibe a little bit. It's set in the 50s. It's obviously across the pond. Let's actually listen to the teaser trailer of that right now.
So how does it make you feel? You can sense the waves. You know how strong they are. Like swimming in rough surf. You feel they could crush you. Or take you under. You just have to let it take hold of you.
So there it is, the teaser trailer for My Policeman. Harry Styles is the lead, obviously. Opposite, I think David. Do you know his name?
I'm actually not sure.
I don't know his name either. Forgive me. The other actor. They're kind of in this illicit love affair in the 50s.
Where it was illegal.
It was illegal in the UK to engage in like homosexual relationships, etc. And Harry Styles was speaking about this in the interview. Interesting quote I want to note right from the top. He says, "It's obviously pretty unfathomable now to think, oh, you can't be gay, that was illegal. I think everyone, including myself, has your own journey with figuring out your sexuality and getting more comfortable with it. It's not like this is a gay story about these guys being gay. It's about love, about wasted time to me." And he goes on to explain that this movie really shows a tender and loving relationship between these two guys. He says something a little weird. He says that usually in movies where gay relationships are depicted, that's just like two guys, quote, going at it.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's even talking about.
Yeah.
Weird.
Very
but
weird.
then he later goes on to address specifically these queerbaiting claims because obviously Harry Styles playing a gay man on film kind of lends to this question of like, well, what's your sexuality exactly? How do you identify? To this day, he has not gone on the record and identified as anything, but this is what he has to say about it, still kind of being vague. He says, quote, "Sometimes people say you've only been publicly with women, and I don't think I've publicly been with anyone. If someone takes pictures of you with someone, it doesn't mean you're choosing to have a public relationship or something." And that's all he has to say about it.
But we should note that it's not really just obviously this film. Like people that don't know, Harry Styles has been accused of queerbaiting for years because of like his
fashion.
His fashion is very
makeup,
gender
his
fluid.
nails.
His nails, his of course his concerts. You know, it's very
his wardrobe
it's
and
a lot.
everything.
It's very people wear boas and glitter. It's all about inclusivity. He like
and
waves gay pride flags.
Harry Styles definitely likes to present himself as an androgynous person. He dresses in like dresses and he wears like heels. He's very proud of it. He owns it. But again, he has not. And
he's also said that he doesn't believe in labels. He doesn't
He
want to
does,
label
exactly.
himself. He said that a lot in the past.
He doesn't believe in labels. And look, Drew, we're just going to throw it right to you. I think Harry Styles is in fact queer baiting, and I think he's this is a non-answer. This is evading the question and just, in my opinion, doing a disservice to the LGBT community.
For sure.
My brother's gay, and he has some strong opinions about Harry Styles himself, but that's kind of where I land on it. Where do you land, Drew, honestly?
Listen, I'm a Harry Styles fan. I really do like his music, but I have to
Talented
agree.
guy, obviously.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it's queer baiting because when you use all aspects of the LGBTQ community, it's very, it's weird to not be like, you're in this bubble of, I'm not going to say this, I'm not going to say that, but you're going to capitalize off of that. It's exactly what queerbaiting is. It's taking all of those things and then making your personality kind of off of that, and
trying to appeal to every corner of the world and profit off of gay people, frankly. You know what I mean?
And that's the huge thing. I think it's a great PR move on his end because it's like, I'm not going to say I like women. I'm not going to say I like men. I'm not going to say I like both of them because, it's a huge opportunity for him to be like this desirable person to anybody.
And to get more fans and to get more eyes on him. Yeah.
Exactly.
And
you're not like targeting yourself to one audience. You are this just person that anyone can find desirable. You know what I mean?
So you guys both think he's doing this intentionally.
I do. That's the cynic in me.
Do you think that?
I think it could go either way. Yes,
I don't think he's doing it intentionally.
I think that's probably just how he likes to express himself, and maybe maybe that's fair. Maybe that is it. But I think that you also can't deny that there's something going on with that. Like, you know what I mean? It's so weird. Why won't you just say it?
Right.
It's not like you have to be like, oh, this is who I am. You could be like, I'm figuring things out. I might do this. I might do that. It's just he can't even say that. He says,
you're right. And even in his quote, he kind of alludes to something. He alludes to something more than just heterosexuality. He says, oh, I'm discovering my sexuality. He has said something to that effect a lot. Yeah, so it's like, well, what is your sexuality? I'm not saying that, I'm not trying to force labels on anybody, but for God's sake, some things need to be defined. Some things need to be said. And I think this I don't like labels and stop trying to put me in a box, that sounds like a cop-out to me. Again, the cynic in me says, Harry Styles is doing this intentionally. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's trying to do this David Bowie persona, this Mick Jagger thing, because those guys were in the same type of boat where they would dress androgynously, they would dress like women sometimes or whatever. But David Bowie went on the record eventually and said, yes, I'm a gay man. And Mick Jagger went on the record too and said, I'm heterosexual. You know what I mean? So eventually going on the record and clearly identifying, it matters and it means something, does it not?
I was gonna say, I think it's an injustice to the LGBTQ community because, why can't you just say one way or the other? It's not like hurting anybody. I think it does more hurt when you don't say anything because it's like, are you scared to say that you're gay? Is it a money thing? You think you're gonna lose money if you say that, hey, maybe I'm bisexual, maybe I'm gay. Obviously, he's with Olivia Wilde, which he's also weird about that and saying he's pictured with her doesn't mean he's with her.
But he totally is with her.
Well, no, he was saying that. He was saying some people say you've only been publicly been with women, and I don't think I've publicly been with anyone because people take a picture of him. He's like, oh, well, that doesn't really mean that I'm with him or whatever. But we've only seen him publicly with women, so that's how we see it.
100%.
So if we have seen him with a man, we're like, okay, well maybe he just doesn't feel like coming out of the closet, I guess, in this sense, or doesn't feel like public saying. But the fact that we haven't, but he's saying this stuff, it's almost like, does he like this kind of us being guessing?
This guessing game.
No, but it almost seems like but then he acts like he
said. That's the baiting part.
But then
we are literally fish
I
out there while he's reeling us in.
It's I completely agree that he's trying to address these queer baiting claims, and yet within this interview here, he is doing he's baiting. He's like, I don't know, I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I don't know, I don't like, you know what I mean?
Well, I feel like if because I always kind of I thought it was already. I thought he said in the past that he was bisexual, but I am totally wrong. So I don't know why I believe that. He's never said anything. But I think that he preaches this, especially in his concerts, this whole thing of inclusivity and everyone's welcome, and he helps people come out in his concerts. So it's I feel like I don't understand if he is a member of the LGBTQ community, why he would be scared to giving it a label, because he's literally promoted himself as like an ally, and
and that's the thing.
and
Like,
that's what's confusing
you
to
can
me.
be an ally and you can like wave the flag. That's all fine, but as long
Just say
to
I'm
me,
straight.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's
That's
like,
all it needs to be.
right.
Yeah.
And then he had an interview with Guardian in 2019. He said, "It's not like I'm sitting on an answer and protecting it and holding it back. It's not a case of I'm not trying to tell you because I don't want to tell you. It's not, oh, this is mine and it's not yours." He says, "It's who cares. Does that make sense? It's just who cares." I'm like, but a lot of people care.
Yeah.
Not that like we need you to tell us your sexuality. That's not what it's about. It's about the people that, you could be representing. You have so
That's
many
right.
gay fans. You have so many bisexual fans.
Yeah.
Lesbian fans. It's like, it's important to, if you belong to that community, it'd be wonderful for those people to have you to look up to and be like,
and have it clear as day.
yeah.
And he doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, and if he wants to just do something, I mean, at least you don't have to say like the exact label, like gay, bisexual, pansexual, whatever. He can just say like, I am a member of the LGBT community.
Right.
And that's something. At
Or
least
I'm
give some
figuring it out.
distinction.
Like I'm figuring it out as in like I'm not saying no to anything, or I'm
I
not
feel like
closing
he's
the door.
he's danced around that without saying that actually I'm not sure, I'm figuring it out. But it's just like, I don't know. It's
So I'm gonna throw this theory out there. We've kind of been saying it ourselves here, but I'm just gonna say, and this is the cynic in me. This is this is the nihilist in me. And I got to be honest. Like Harry Styles might not be doing this intentionally, but I think he is doing it intentionally, which is why I think it's so messed up. Like I think first of all, I think he's totally straight. He's only into chicks. And that's my theory. He's only into girls.
I mean, the proof is kind of in the pudding, though.
Totally,
I mean,
dude.
as you said, who is he only pictured with in public?
Yeah.
And
Right.
that doesn't mean he's with them, but it also is like, when have we ever seen you with a man that looked like it was romantic?
Never. Literally never. And then the fact that let's run with that theory that he's totally straight. Then what's up with you wearing the dress? I mean, like, okay, it's like I think hold on.
Okay.
I just want to say, like, you trying to pass it off as like, oh, this is just how I express myself. This is just my fashion sensibility. That's such bull crap. It's just such bull crap.
so are you one of the people that like doesn't like when straight men wear dresses?
I'm sorry, say it again.
When like straight that I stumbled that. Are you the kind of person that doesn't think it's okay when like straight men like dress
Not that I have a
androgynously?
problem with it, but
Like
it's
Kid Cudi, like, wears a skirt.
It's a little bizarre. at
Oscar Isaac
times.
wears a skirt.
If it's serving a purpose, sure. Like if it's in a skit or something or whatever, but like
on a red carpet, like it's like a trend.
it's a little weird to me. Like it's
Really?
it's a little bizarre, and like it's a little. I guess you're right because Kid Cudi's not. He's not
There
gay.
was
I
Brad
was
obviously.
gonna say,
Pitt.
like, Young Thug has done it before, too, on his
True.
album.
Timothy Chalamet dresses very androgynous.
Yeah, but those guys they've gone on the record and said they're straight though. You know what I mean? And I guess that's kind of where I'm at. It's like if you're gonna go wear the dresses or whatever, then all right, just explain because like
So it's okay
that's what I'm
because
saying,
they
like,
said they're
if-
explicitly that
Yes,
they're
if
straight.
there's something that's so obvious to people, like you associate like wearing dresses or whatever with like femininity, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe those are constructs, whatever. We can get into that. I don't want to get into that whole debate, but like when something is so obvious to society and they're going to perceive it in such an obvious way, I think we just have a duty to clearly say like what is actually going on here. Like, you know what I mean? If you're just wearing dresses because like you like the fashion, fine, then just say that. But like, don't try to like confuse it and blend it with like, oh, I don't know if I'm gay or not. Maybe I am. Who knows?
It's the dancing
Like,
around. It
Yeah.
really is the
It's
dancing around. It's
annoying.
like, it's just tell us. And it's not the
Yes.
end of the world. And it's like you said, it doesn't need to be this concrete answer of this is what it is. Because I feel like, as he said, he's figuring it out. So like it could be one day, you feel like that, one day you don't feel like that. But
Sure.
it's just like you can also help people by just being honest.
I agree.
That's
true.
he's like he likes to keep his private life private, and everyone
That's fine too.
has the right to do
I
I
do.
that.
respect that as
Yeah.
well, but
I just think
still,
that this is
when you're a public figure like that, I'm sorry, some things have to be said and some things have to be stated. Like that's just my opinion. If you're a public figure as big as he is, that kind of comes with the territory a little bit. I don't know. That's kind of where I land. Getting back to the movie real quick with My Policeman. First of all, I want to say Harry Styles, even though I have like mixed feelings about his persona in general, I'm not a huge fan of him. I know he's talented, but as far as acting goes, I actually think he's a really good actor. He was in Dunkirk. He was really good in that kind of a not so many words type of role. He's going to be in Don't Worry, Darling. He looks good in that. This movie actually looks pretty solid. I'm definitely going to watch it. But I think kind of just tying this back to the role, the fact that he is playing this role, a gay policeman, it kind of lends to this whole queerbaiting thing. And if you're going to take on a role like that, and you haven't clearly defined things ahead of time, it just adds more confusion. It keeps, he knows, that's what I'm saying.
Like, he's gonna get asked about this a lot.
No, there's no way he's not. Like, there's just like, you can't deny it now. I mean, the first 2 roles he was playing a straight person, but it's yeah, you're gonna open this door, and it's specifically a movie about when it was illegal and like all these things, and like he has to hide himself. It's like, are you like playing through this character in a way? Or
exactly, and especially
like,
with all the conversations these days about authentic casting and this and that, like, is it authentic or is it not? Is it a big deal? Is it not? I don't want to get into all that, but it's weird. So look, I mean, I don't know. And then one last thing I want to note before we move on about this thing about like gay sex things being portrayed in kind of like a rough manner. Is he off about that? Because like as far as I know, like in like movies that like take a gay relationship seriously, like a Brokeback Mountain, which is a fantastic film. Those relationships and those sex scenes are portrayed very lovingly and tenderly. So I don't. It's
not like aggressive.
No, it's not. I don't know what he's talking about.
It seems like he's referring to like pornography.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, what movies is he talking about?
I was gonna say there's a very few films to begin with, but like the ones like that you guys named, they're very tender, loving. Like it's not like it's
movies that actually address
raunchy.
the issue, or not the issue, but the subject seriously. They usually treat it in a serious manner. So I think he's just off base here saying, oh yeah, movies usually depict it in like a rough way. It's like, what are you talking about, dog? That's not at all what it's depicted. If anything, heterosexual relationships are often portrayed that way. You know what I mean? Like American Pie or whatever.
There's
like
that 365-day movie where it's like,
oh my God.
I mean, yeah, it just gets, the list goes on and on and on.
That movie's like a porno. I'm sorry.
No,
right. So I think Harry Styles is off there. But I think we're all on the same page that I do think he is in fact queer baiting. It's unfortunate that he's doing that. It's also unfortunate that he's like in denial about that too. And eventually I'm waiting for an interviewer just to have the balls to say, dude, can you just tell us if you're straight or gay or not? Like, I'm sorry. I hate to slap labels on you. I know you're so anti-label, but for God's sake, just address this, please, clearly. Can you clearly define something? I don't know. That's just me. Anyway, I think that's a good place to leave things. Sorry, I got all fired up. Drew, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
That was a great
conversation.
Anytime you have anything you want to talk about, I'm here.
Welcome anytime, babe.
Awesome. Thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great conversation with Drew. We thank him again for his contributions here. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next segment, the Hollywood Hoedown. Oh, here we go. I wish we had real lassos sometimes.
I know. We need to get some.
We need to get more props.
Cowboy hats.
So for this segment here, we're going to focus on Jonah Hill. He came out last week with kind of a big announcement. He said that he is going to be taking a step back from promoting his films for the time being. He didn't really put an end date on it or anything. It kind of sounded indefinite, actually. And he said the reason for this is because he suffers from severe anxiety. And he says that this is caused by him doing these public-facing events.
He gets panic attacks.
He gets panic attacks. And he kind of wrote this long letter that got published. And it was tied to this new documentary of his called Stutz. And it's about his relationship with his therapist. Sounds like it's a very personal project, and he directed it. And he says the movie's coming out. It's going to premiere at a fall festival somewhere. But he says, I will not be there. You won't see me promoting it. You're not going to see me doing Q&As, doing press junkets, any of that stuff, because through making this movie, I've discovered that I suffer severe panic attacks, that this type of setting kind of sets me off, and that this is detrimental to my mental health. And to service myself and to be true to myself, I'm going to take a step back and not be part of these public events anymore. Honestly, look, my thing on this is good for him. I know that we're in a time right now where people are coming out and speaking about mental health, being open with it, and more importantly, taking steps back when they need to. And we're, in this history of ours where people, it's kind of like tough love, like suck it up, do it. I know a lot of people still kind of have that mentality. Honestly, parts of me still kind of have that mentality at times, but I'm trying to kind of be a little more open.
I mean, it's been ingrained in our society. It's hard to not think that.
It's part of our American identity, I would argue. It's a cultural thing. But like, 100%. So I'm happy for Jonah Hill, and that's kind of really all I have to say about it. What do you think, Paige?
So I'm definitely happy for him that he's taking this, that he's getting the help that he needs. He's taking these steps and realizing that, especially one point that he made in here was that he didn't want to like push through and like get worse.
Right.
Which I think is something it should be applauded that he realized that, because it would be even probably, I don't know his exact condition, but it would have been probably even more severe. Something worse could have happened if he tried to push himself through it, especially project like this when he's talking about his panic attacks and his anxiety. I could imagine that could probably even create more anxiety if he was promoting this project.
Absolutely.
And Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that like it's interesting that Jonah Hill himself is coming out and saying this, because Jonah Hill historically through his movie career has been known as this very big personality, funny guy, very glib, very easy to talk to. Things just kind of slide off his tongue a little bit when he speaks. He's got the gift of gab, if you will. And he's a funny guy. He's got a big personality. So for him to kind of reveal that he's actually got some issues there and that he actually suffers from anxiety, plus the fact with his weight history and everything like that, that's been spoken about a lot, and jokes have been made a lot, and
people are so mean.
Taking photos of him all the time, and his weight loss journey, and he's gained weight, he's lost weight. Like it's a constant subject of speculation and discussion. So I'm sure that's affecting him too, or has affected him. So again, I applaud him. But what else were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say off that though, I think it's really important when someone, especially in his position, someone who's funny and seems very positive and like making jokes about things. Someone like him, there's been a lot of like comedians that have had like depression, think like Robin Williams, or like people that have had, troubled minds,
and
had things going on, and it's led to bad results, and they keep it in. But I think it's very mature of him, and it's also. Like I always applaud celebrities who have a big platform, especially now in today's day and age, when they open up about any sort of mental illness, any sort of thing that's been, or even like addiction, anything that's bothering them. Because with that platform, people that are suffering, like regular people like you and I, and especially these younger generation, they see these people they look up to and they're like, oh wow, like he's on my TV screen or on my movie screen and he's going through the same thing I am, and he's taking a break, and he's realizing that he needs to take a step back from this thing that's causing him distress and panic attacks, and I think that'll help. It's all about ending the stigma, right? And I feel like having, especially the younger generation, who I feel they are hitting the hardest with social media and everything.
Oh, absolutely.
So seeing a figure that is going through this and deciding to take a step back for their health, I think is a big deal, and definitely should be applauded for it.
Yeah.
I also want to note, as someone with an anxiety disorder, I've suffered from anxiety my whole life. I've had panic attacks. They aren't fun. I do want to note something, because I don't know if people are saying this, but I did see this one horrible take. I'm not going to name the publication that wrote this awful take about celebrities and the social media breaks and mental health and all that. I'm not even going to mention it because it was disgusting, frankly.
Garbage hot take?
It was garbage hot take. And the people were railing this publication in the comments as well, because it's horrible. But I just want to note that I want to note that even if it's something that you do for like a job, like for example, this is his job. Doing promotions is part of his job.
It is.
I don't want people to be like, oh, well, it's his job. He has to do it anyways. Like, why is it causing him anxiety? Sometimes.
Well, actually, his job is the acting.
Well, true.
We should. I mean, you're right. Like this kind of comes with the package of everything.
Promoting does.
As is being an athlete. You could argue that doing press afterward is kind of part of the job. But really, if you actually, if you want to get technical, their actual job is the performing.
That's true.
Performing on camera, or for an athlete, performing on the court, or performing in whatever you're playing in.
Yeah.
That's actually their job. We kind of tag on the press stuff ourselves and say, oh, we've like lately like, oh, that's actually part of your job too. It's like
people tag them together and they're not. That's a great point. But I just want to note that it's sometimes things that you love, and I've experienced this myself, sometimes things that you actually love doing. Now, I don't know if he actually likes doing press tours or not. It doesn't seem like he does.
Right.
But sometimes the things that you actually like doing can cause you anxiety.
Totally.
Which sounds kind of like people like, why you like
counterintuitive. Yeah.
Like, I'm anxious right now and I'm totally fine. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm not there's threats around me, but I'm anxious right now and I have no need to be. And I love doing this, right? So I think people need to understand that, like, just because they might not seem like they are on the outside, they could be going through something on the inside.
Absolutely.
And just because, and I just wanted to point that out, because just because that this is causing him anxiety doesn't mean that, he should find a different job or do something else. Like, because I don't want people to think that. I just wanted to stress that.
He even notes that he's going to continue acting, which is great. He's a fantastic actor. He should continue doing that. But yeah, if a part of the gig, if you will, is affecting you this badly, then press pause, take a step back. That's fine.
I think that if more in the past, if you look back, if there were more, if people are being more open now.
Yeah.
But if in the past, if things were like they were now, maybe some bad things wouldn't have happened to some of these stars.
Absolutely.
And creative people are known to have more mental illnesses, a lot more going on
in their head. Yes.
And I think that, like, again, more celebrities that come and speak out about this, I think it's only going to help them in the future and help other people in the future.
I agree. So good for Jonah Hill. Thank you for speaking on that. And with that, I think we can move on to our final segment. What'd you see? What'd you think? We'll keep this one relatively brief. The movie we both saw this weekend was Beast. It was kind of the the big banner movie that was out this weekend with Idris Elba. Look, I'm just gonna like jump right into it. I loved it. I thought it was a blast, and I know a couple weeks ago I was kind of criticizing people who were saying Bullet Train was a blast, and now here I am saying Beast is a blast. Yeah, I'm imperfect. I'm sorry, but this movie was a blast. It was fun, and unlike Bullet Train, which I sort of thought like I was mindless and was kind of a waste of time, this one was a simple story, yet it was effective. And that's the thing. Like, you don't need all these moving parts and all these big actors attached. You can have a simple premise like Idris Elba fighting a crazed, murderous lion in Africa. That's it. That's the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like this cat and mouse kind of chase going on. Very simple plot. Very simple premise, yet super effective, and just made for great thrills, great suspense, great action. That final sequence where he's getting, spoiler alert, getting mauled. He doesn't die. He doesn't die.
That shit was insane.
It was crazy.
I was like...
And by the way, I want to say, the lion is obviously CGI. The lion throughout the entire movie is complete CGI, which when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh my God, this looks terrible. This movie actually looked bad to me. But I was hearing the buzz. I was hearing the reviews like, nope, it's not. It's actually really good. You're in for a good time. And I totally was. And I even made like a little TikTok about it. It was funny.
Fabian's blowing up on TikTok.
I'm blowing up on
now,
TikTok.
Guys. Follow him.
I'm all in on TikTok.
I'm kind of jealous. I'm not gonna lie.
But yeah, so great movie, and even the digital effects did not take away from the movie.
No.
I'm not going to say that I was totally buying into it and thought it was like a real lion.
They weren't. They weren't bad.
It wasn't bad.
But
it wasn't bad.
Yeah, they weren't.
And Idris Elba killed it. The girls, or I don't know, call girls or women, whatever. The young women,
daughters,
young women who were playing his daughters, absolutely killed it too. As did the guy who played his best friend. It was a great movie. It was a great movie, and it's more than what you kind of think. There's poachers that are kind of get involved as well. It was awesome. I loved it. What'd you think?
You know, it's so funny that you mentioned the thing with the trailers. So I had even told, so I have obviously been going to movies like regularly, like almost every week.
Literally.
And I had seen, I was going to like different, this is before I rejoined AMC Stubbs A-List, but I was going to like different theaters, and like every single movie I was seeing was this damn trailer. And I was like, this looks fucking excuse me, I didn't mean to curse. This looks bad. Like, and I even told Fabian, I was like, do we have to see this movie? Like, it looks terrible. And he was like, I think it looks good. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what's wrong with me. And then I'm like,
I thought it was going to be terrible.
Maybe it was just maybe it was just the trailer. Like, maybe I just like wasn't into the trailer, maybe because I saw it so many times.
It just looks goofy, frankly.
And
it looks ridiculous.
Okay, exactly. Okay, that's
You're
it.
seeing Idris Elba punch on. You're like, what is going on right now? It looks ridiculous.
But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great popcorn movie. I thought it was a perfect amount of length of time. I think that it was like an hour and a half, hour 35.
Totally.
The movies, I think if it was longer, that wouldn't have been good. But it was like you kept your like
good
going,
pacing.
good pacing.
Totally.
Some good jump scares. Stairs.
A lot of stairs too, actually.
Yeah, a lot of stairs too. There was some stare downs with the lions. There were stare downs. There was some good stares. Great action sequences. I really liked the whole thing about, you know, family and his relationship, reconnecting with his daughters. And of course, this is a very intense way to reconnect with his daughters, you know, because like
it's life or death.
The older one like kind of like resented him for like divorcing the mom who had like passed away. There was a whole subplot going on. But I definitely want to applaud the actresses that played the daughters, Leah Jeffries and Iana Halley. And Leah Jeffries, I don't know if you remember, she's the actress that's in Percy Jackson. Remember we talked about her a while back?
Yes.
And I remember
she's
that.
the one who just got cast as that, all the controversy.
Yes, I remember that.
If this is a foreshadowing of how she's going to do in that movie, then all the haters can just shut the hell up. She was fantastic.
So good.
She was great.
Spoiler alert: the part when she takes the dart and just puts it in the lion's ass. I was like, "You go, girl!"
Yeah, that was awesome.
She's like 10. So I thought the girls were great. Obviously, like, I mean, as a woman, a straight woman talking about sexuality, I would watch Idris Elba at anything. Like, if he's just like reading his grocery list, I was in.
Totally.
So I thought he was great. I thought it was a fun movie. I mean, I think it was. I definitely thought it was a great film. And it wasn't the best film I've seen this year.
No,
but
totally not.
Not by far, but still liked it.
It did its job. It entertained me, and that's all you really can ask of movies these days.
Yeah.
And with that, I think that's a good place to close out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stream us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart. We're on the website. We're on YouTube as well. And we will check in with you guys next time to talk more movies. Take it easy.
See ya.
See ya.